Okay, so here's my 2014 Cherokee Sport. It came with just about everything I wanted for like $20,000, except fog lights. And so I decided I would try and figure out how to install some fog lights, and searching on the internet I didn't find anything that was very complete, so I thought I'd make my own little video. I wanted to keep it as stock as possible, but I ran into some issues I'll explain later here. First thing you need is a pair of these bezels to replace the existing bezels. These come from Chrysler and they're 12 or 13 bucks a piece. Second thing you need is light assemblies. I didn't want anything fancy. I just got the stock fog light, Chrysler number. Got this on Amazon for about 25 bucks each. And the third thing I got was a wiring harness. Now I wanted to keep it stock, but I'll go into explanation later on at the end of this video as to why I chose to go this route. But I found this wiring harness which has all of the correct plugs for the light assemblies. And this wiring harness comes with a relay and a fuse and a wire that's either a ground seeking or a power seeking circuit. It even has this Mickey Mouse switch, which I'm not going to use because they want you to stick it somewhere in the dash, and that just doesn't seem very good to me. So what I did was I went to Radio Shack, and for $3.50 I got this little jewel, little push button switch, and I decided to put it in the most clever place. One thing I did find from an internet search was that if you look right underneath the fan switch and feel around under here, you'll find this suspicious little flat spot, nice round flat spot about the size of a $50. And the beauty of it is this thing just pops right off, and you can make a hole like that to mount this switch. And there's plenty of room back here for wiring. And the only thing, the other issue would be to get the wire in through the firewall. If you follow the cable for the hood release, you'll find that there's a nice big rubber area with a big wiring harness that goes through it. And below that is where the cable for the hood release goes. You tend to snake the wire through there. So if you look in the front wheel well here, there is a small panel to access the back of the where the fog light should be. But if you feel around under there, it's pretty hard to tell exactly how it is that these snaps snap in and which way this thing goes. And I even pulled the wheel well liner out. And the bottom line is I decided I was going to take the whole front fascia off. So the whole front fascia starts just below where the headlight is, this seam here, and this seam here, and this whole front piece comes off. I'll set it on some sawhorses and we'll really see what's going on. So if you go to YouTube and you search on Cherokee Fascia, F-A-S-C-I-A, Cherokee Fascia, you'll find a guy has a two-part video. They're about 10 minutes each, and he does a really nice job telling you exactly how to get that thing off and how to save all the fasteners. And so that's what I'm going to do next, and that's what you should do next once you've got all your parts ready. And we'll see you on the other side. Okay, now under the heading "and then a miracle happens," you'll see that we have the fascia off, and I'm glad I did this. I'll show you why. This is the driver's side that I've already completed, and you'll see that I actually got the wrong part. So the part number you'll see on the heading will be the wrong one, the one not to get. There's a gap, I don't know if you can see it here, There's a gap in the bottom, and the holes don't line up. The main thing is there's these two guide pins that locate the correct light, and the important thing here now is that you need to separate the lower part of the fascia from the upper part so that you can get to the back of the bezel to push it in. And it takes some finesse. You need to be very careful. These clips along the side here, I believe they're pushed in or out. No, excuse me, out. And you'll notice there's this one long tongue here, and that is the clue that this thing comes in to release it. So that's what that's all about. The other interesting thing was this cannon plug that you disconnect only has 3 wires hooked to it, and it runs over here to this shade-like device that monitors or regulates the air flowing through, which is kind of surprising on a $20,000 car that they have a piece of probably modestly valuable piece of equipment. But that's what the fascia is all about. And I went ahead and completed the wiring this morning, and here's my pigtail on this side, and here's the one on the opposite side near the washer bottle. This is the cannon plug that really only has 3 wires in it. It's amazing. So evidently the wiring harness is not compatible with fog lights. So the wiring harness that I selected comes up. There's I mounted the relay right there on the battery mount. The wires come up along here. I got hot coming from the fuse box. The white wire goes through the firewall. Again, I chose a pretty good location for that. It comes in through the where the cable for the hood release goes through the firewall. And then I did get my really sweet little button here, and it works like a champ. Already tested it. And on the other side, I wanted to show you that I left this panel off because on the passenger side, this panel just pulls off, and that's where I have the ground for the switch. This particular switch needs a ground. My circuit, I tested it, needed power sensing through the switch, so I had to have a hot power for the switch, and trying to find switched power on this car turned out to be a lot harder than I thought. What I did was I pulled this panel off and got to the back of the cigarette lighter, which is a switched voltage. So the power that goes actually to the lights themselves from the relay is unswitched, but the power that energizes the relay is switched. So the lights will go off when I shut the ignition off. So that's about it for now. Hopefully in a little bit I'll have the other fog light installed and put it back on the car. My plan is to be able to replace the wrong unit without having to go through the trouble of taking off the valance again. I should be able to do it from the fender well. There's enough access to back here. And one thing that makes that possible is some hardware you'll need. You'll need some of these, I forget what they're called, the zip nuts that slip on here that hold it into place, and they'll make the installation a whole lot easier once I have the right parts. So that's all I have for now, and hopefully I'll just follow up with a brief victory lap and let you know why it is that I chose to go with this route on the wiring. Okay, one little trick I discovered pulling off the second one of these and replacing it with the other bezel is that it seems like these things want, there's a little tab on the front fascia that comes through this hole, and it seems like what you want to do is reach around with your fingers and pry in like this. That seems to get the best results trying to get these things free. The other thing I wanted to point out was a couple of things. First of all, the tape that they had you put on here is really important for this thing, because this thing comes over here and will want to scratch this like gangbusters. I haven't put a piece of tape on that. And then the other thing is that to release the lower part of the fascia, there is a bolt here, and there's one more bolt down here, and then there are 3 of these little white clips that you need to remove. There's like 1, 2, and then the third one is over here. So those are the secrets, and I think that's about it for now. So after the second miracle occurred, here I am with fog lights installed. And I'll give you a little bit of a close-up here. There is indeed a bit of a gap down here with these Fiat lights, but they do work quite nice, and they don't look bad. Remember, I got about $100 sunk into this conversion, and so here's my here's the battery, and here's the wires. 2 wires. One of them goes to the fuse box. One of them disappears into the through the firewall into the car. And I've got I had to relocate the relay down there a little bit, but you know, not a bad installation. I suppose you could wrap these 2 wires with black tape and make it look a little bit more factory, but not bad. The reinstallation of the fascia panel took about an hour and a half. It took me about an hour to get it off, and some time fussing with it to get those stupid bezels out, but you know, not a bad project. Definitely, oh, about a 6-pack of beer worth, you know. My fancy little switch under the fan knob works pretty dang good, and I'll do a little night follow-up to this and show you what that looks like. It sits there and glows red. It's kind of nice. I did have one little hiccup. Got a check engine light, and I took it to AutoZone where they read the code. It says U1504, implausible message data length received from steering angle sensor. It says replace totally integrated power module. Now that was a little bit scary, and so it was related to the steering angle sensor, and seems to be a fairly common problem. You can go online into the Cherokee Club website, and basically I got it out by cycling the power a few times and then turning the wheel lock to lock a couple of times, and voila, the check engine light went out. So crisis averted, $100. Was it worth it? Yeah, I think it was. And I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, following up on the subject of having the wiring harness exterior to you know, an add-on wire harness like this. You know, these days the computers are so integrated into everything the car does. For example, when you use the door lock to unlock the doors, the lights come on. Well, the lights are part of the computer system, and yes, you could probably figure out a way to replace the switch with the switch that has the fog lamp button right in the middle here, but you know, And will the wiring harness support it? Your guess is as good as mine. I just chose to avoid all those hassles and all the expense. I will tell you this, the wiring harness that you unplug in front of the left front tire that goes over to the shutters for the to let the air into the radiator, that Canon plug only has 3 wires to it, so it's obviously not capable of supporting the fog lamps. So you'd have to at least replace the wiring harness that goes across the front of the fascia and the wiring harness that it's connected to. But for example, here's another connector, and here is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires coming out of it, and probably 30 wires, or no, maybe 15 going into it. So chances are there's some break-even point where you can justify trying to make this a stock conversion, a bulletproof stock conversion. I just didn't want to deal with it. The wiring harness that you can get from Amazon for 12 or so bucks has everything you need. It's got the plugs that go into the lights. It's just the relay is there. There's a fuse there, and it takes a little bit of figuring out how to wire the thing, whether it was a positive seeking sensor to trip the relay or a ground seeking sensor. But overall, a pretty easy, well, with a little bit of finesse. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. You have to have a little bit of knowledge and to figure things out. That video that shows you how to take the fascia off was a great help. Whoever did that guy, that was awesome. I mean, you know right where the bolts are and how many fasteners there are, and that was pretty sweet. So, as an epilogue to this, I'll take it for a test drive at night on a dark road and show you what it looks like with the fog lights on and off. It's pretty sweet. Okay, so here it is. It's dark, and I'm trying to give you a little bit of an idea of how effective the fog lights are. First of all, you'll notice that when they're on, you see a lot of stuff in front of the car, and if you turn them off, well, some of the stuff disappears. Okay, that's good. That's good. The other thing to notice is right below the knob there, the red light from the switch lights up the area underneath the underneath that panel, and actually is kind of a nice little red glow, which is kind of effective because it doesn't affect your night vision. So let's see here. We're going to take it out on the road. The fog lights are on right now, so you can see how well it lights up the fog lines here. You turn them off. No, it isn't bad that way, but with them on, it's awesome. Where you're going, and here I'll turn them off here in a second. That's with them on, and that's with them off. So, it's not a huge difference, but it's just one of those things that if you have a choice, it's really nice to have fog lights. So there you go. Hope this video is helpful and that you can make a little conversion on your Jeep Cherokee. I sure love mine. It's been a great car so far, so good luck.